I'm Bryan Jamieson, and I'm a lookout observer in the province of Alberta. So a fire lookout is calling in a fire as soon as it's like the smallest plume of smoke visible. Like every season, I'll have a strike that I see, and I might call it in as a lightning strike, and then 2 minutes later, I'm calling it in as a fire. And it's just a tiny puff of smoke, right? But that potentially could turn into a 300,000 hectare fire, as we've seen. This is the firefinder. We've attached a rifle scope on top for sighting, but generally you would have just looked through here across the map to line up with a crosshair on the other end. Ideally, another lookout will also see what you're looking at, and then we will triangulate, basically like intersecting lines. This is a speaker for my radio, the CB radio here. Same thing you would see on like a boat. This is the trap door. And this is our safety system for climbing. We use harness every time we climb up and down. And it's 30 meters, so 100 feet. So this is looking directly southwest towards the Swan Hills. In the province of Alberta, we have 100 active fire lookouts. 2011, so that was our historic fires here in Slave Lake, where unfortunately half of the town burnt down in Slave Lake. And then the fire in Fort McMurray, I saw that from my lookout, even though it was like 200 kilometers away, this massive plume. There's a lot of things that lookout has to learn how to, what to call in and what to not call in, and also just to use their best judgment. And unfortunately, technology isn't really there to rationally make those decisions. And forestry has said, we've looked at the other options and lookouts are the most reliable. We're off grid here. Generally, you're collecting rainwater for whatever you're using. You're delivered drinking water, so you're rationing your drinking water. Services, as we call them, is when you get a delivery of your groceries. So, and that's once a month in this area. So you're planning, how you're gonna feed yourself for the month. People say like, oh, fire lookouts must be all introverts. I think a lot of us actually are not. And I think really important part of the lookout life is mental health, and just that's up to the observer to figure out how that works for them. A lot of us get really excited about the wildlife and things like that. I'm a musician, so I play the viola, so I always have things that I'm working on or just keep my brain active. It's one of those things like, why do we come back? I feel like perennial here, like something's gone into my blood with this, and I'm kind of invested in the future of fires, and I love looking at this land, so I'm always going to come back if the opportunity is here.